Hello there! This is Opa and I'm finally continuing with my Star Wars Rebels reviews. Now, I hate being one of those YouTuber guys who promises one thing for very long and doesn't complete it until a very long time or doesn't complete it at all. But I had to be this time because of personal matters and other stuff. I really couldn't sit down to do the last episode review of Star Wars Rebels. I always wanted to, but it was just never fell into place. But now I'm here to review it. So let's do it. Recap on the closing events of the last episode. Governor Price and her armies were defeated by the rebels in a trap that they earlier set up, and Governor Price was captured for further use to the rebel alliance. So basically this episode starts off with Callus, who of course was an Imperial earlier in his life and is now relieved to serve under the Rebel Alliance, talking about how he felt good sort of betraying the Empire and how it let him go. Then Governor Price is told by Ezra Bridger that basically they need her for sort of infiltrating the base on Lothal to sort of save the planet, or should I say the city. But that's why she says, like, I want to collaborate with you, because she is, despite being a total coward and sort of not really being loyal to the Empire, she still serves it. And at first she's like, no. And in fact, I would even say that Ezra and the rebels here, because they're criminals, of course, well, kind of they are, because, I mean, they're rebels who are against a corrupt government, but still a government. And it's really unfair what they're doing. Even to a person, they're blackmailing her, seriously. Like when she says, I want to collaborate, they threaten the Loaf Wolves to eat her. And that's when she's like, oh, no, I'm collaborating, I'm totally in it, guys, of course, just put it away. And that's a very sort of blackmailing method to persuade someone to do as you want. But of course, this is a serious thing, so yeah. Also, I have a little pun. So when, imagine if when Governor Price is attacked by the Loaf Wolf, she's like, oh, of course, nothing. And then old Luke Skywalker comes in and he's like, that was a cheap move. So the rebels create this very, very smart plan, especially Ezra, because he's the leader in this episode, and he really is shown to now lead the rebels on Lothal, because now that Kanan is gone, Ezra understood how to lead, even though he is still not a professional soldier. So basically they attack the Imperial base straight away after they get the codes, and I absolutely love how they fooled the Imperials that Governor Price was arriving. There are a couple of funny moments, like the Ugnaught being catapulted onto the glass of the window of the base, the Imperial base, to distract the others. I really enjoyed the Ugnaught, Melch, I think he was called. He's just so cute and funny, and I just can't hold but to hug him and those things. Hondo returned in this episode, of course, and I absolutely loved him and his relationship friendship with Melch, partnership. So that's another thing that I really enjoyed, all the characters interacting and how their plan is put together, into place very smartly. However, of course, they can't outsmart Thrawn. After they they capture all the stormtroopers inside and lock them inside the Imperial building, Rook, who had a very interesting, decent action sequence when he was being chased by the Loaf Wolf. Though it was short, it was great. He reports to Thrawn what happened. And I really love this. Is a very smart moment right here. So Ezra, basically Thrawn arrives on his Star Destroyer and he talks with Ezra. And Ezra says, like, surrender because we have all your people. But Thrawn is much smarter. He's like, well, the only condition I will sort of approve is your immediate and unconditional surrender, Commander Bridger. And then Ezra is like, why? I mean, we have all your people. And that's when the moment comes. But when Thrawn says, no, you simply saved my people because right now I'm going to destroy Lafol and you lock them all inside the safe building, which like will bring no harm, so that the only people who will die are the citizens of Lafol who aren't Imperial workers or officers, which was very smart. And of course, Thrawn basically invites Ezra to his Star Destroyer and says, like, if you come here and surrender, then no harm will come. And the rebels stay and try to sort of put on the shield, and then there's a lot of chasing, stormtroopers chasing the rebels. Decent action, has some emotional moments, like Melch dying, because he actually didn't die, because actually he survived. I think it would have been a more emotional moment for me that if he would die, but I mean, I'm so happy that he did survive. Gregor, whom was my least favorite of the characters, dies, and the moment I love is Gregor. Callus like mourns his death and sits right beside him, and Gregor, when he's already dead and suffering, he pushes him away so that Callus would continue on fighting instead of sitting with him and letting the stormtroopers win. Which is a very great scene, which I kind of always imagined in my head, but I haven't seen it a lot in movies, sort of. Then there are a lot of funny scenes, like Zeb about the stormtroopers, the joke. But then the real part of the episode comes in. And now, not exactly here, a bit later, but the episode is a two-parter, just to let you know. Some sides just have the first part. So basically, Ezra comes towards Thrawn. They have a very intriguing, interesting, and sort of threatening conversation where you feel like Thrawn's gonna say something right now. Like, they discuss the art of Sabine, of Kanan, and Ezra is like, the Force is not a weapon, but you'll never understand it. And Thrawn is like, I don't have to. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is who has power. And that's when I'm like, no, that's not Thrawn speaking. And it is explained because it's actually Palpatine setting a trap. Thrawn, because he's an officer, a Grand Admiral, but for Palpatine it doesn't matter, just collaborating. And Thrawn, basically, then we all have goosebumps, like, Thrawn says, that is something I cannot teach you, but I'll take you to someone who will. And we all diehard Star Wars fans, and even like, it's gonna be Palpatine.